Providence College, and welcome to PCI, PCTV's new sports talk show. My name is Anthony Cherry, and I'm your host. Welcome me is Johnny, our sports insider, and Bridget from the Carl. Today in the NFL, the Bills beat the Patriots by a whopping 34-31, beating them by a field goal in the last seconds. Now, Johnny, are they a contender this year, or the Bills just a wannabe at this point in time?
Well, I'll tell you what, Anthony. The Bills have played 3 games, much like everyone else in the NFL. Last I checked, Super Bowl trophies weren't handed out after 3 games of the regular season, so there's a long way to go. But I'll tell you what, the Bills are playing great. Ryan Fitzpatrick has that team playing at a high level. The defense is flying around, making noise, intercepting Tom Brady for 4 times. That's just as much as he had all of last season, 4 interceptions. And that game, as a Patriots fan, was tough to watch. It seemed like the Patriots just gave it away after a 21-0 lead. But you got to give credit to the Bills. They're playing at a high level right now, and they're definitely looking to keep that up.
Exactly. Patriots didn't have it in them on defense. They couldn't stop that aerial attack with Stevie Johnson and Fitzpatrick. It just didn't happen well. And now turn to the other side, to the NFC, Detroit Lions are making a huge splash this year with, and now I'm assuming, anchoring that defensive line, and Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson just keep hooking up after touchdown after touchdown. Are they going to make the playoffs, or they just don't want to be as well?
I'll tell you what, I think they're going to sneak in as the wild card. This is the team that's been waiting to burst onto the scene. And the reason why I say wild card is I still do believe the Packers are the best team in the NFC. And being in that division, it's going to be tough to get in. But the Detroit Lions, with Matthew Stafford healthy, if they can keep him healthy, they have a great shot at making the playoffs and making a run in those playoffs. And I'll tell you what, Ndamukong Suh and that defensive line, anchoring arguably the best defense in the NFC, that's something to worry about for opposing quarterbacks. I wouldn't want to be a quarterback in the NFC North this year.
Exactly, and I just feel like Aaron Rodgers had to watch himself. If the Packers are to repeat as world champions, and to lead on that, are the Packers going to make the playoffs, and are they going to win the Super Bowl this year?
The Packers will definitely make the playoffs, and until someone knocks them off with them at 3-0 record to start off the season, can't really say much else that they won't win the Super Bowl. They're the favorite in the NFC. Aaron Rodgers is playing at an incredible pace right now. Their defense is flying around. The loss of their safety is going to hurt them, definitely in the long run, who had an interception in the Super Bowl. But they deal with injuries last year, much like the whole of last season, and I think they'll definitely make a run at the Super Bowl again this year. This is the best team in the NFC.
Let's talk about injuries from last year. They got their big tight end, Jermichael Finley, back from injury last year, and he made a huge splash against Chicago. Is he going to be the difference maker in this team?
Well, I'll tell you what, Jermichael Finley is phenomenal. He plays like a wide receiver with the quickness of a wide receiver, but he has the height and the strength of a tight end. The only other tight end, honestly, in the NFL that you can compare him to in the pace he's playing at right now is Rob Gronkowski of the New England Patriots. And that's something to say right there. And Jermichael Finley, if he keeps playing the way he does, and that wide receiving corps that Aaron Rodgers can play around with Jordy Nelson, Donald Driver, and Greg Jennings to boot, that's going to be a tough team to stop come defense.
Exactly. And now I'll turn to another quarterback, and Michael Vick got hurt again this week. He bruised his hand, not a broken hand. We'll see how that turns out. But the big mention of Michael Vick is the comments he made after the game on Sunday, calling out the refs, saying, "Look at me, I'm on the ground constantly. Check out my highlights, I'm on the ground. I get hit late, I get hit repeatedly." Does he make a case, or is he complaining? Because he said he wasn't complaining.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a little bit of complaining, a little bit of both. Here's the deal. After the game, emotions get the best of you, and you're likely to go on the mic and say some things that you regret the next day, which he did, as there's a video online right now of him apologizing for his comments. But I will say this, if he wants to make a case with anyone, he should make a case with his offensive line, because they have done a poor job of protecting him so far this year. And until they can find out a way to protect their franchise, the Eagles aren't going anywhere right now in that tough NFC East, which is always tough with the Redskins playing good and the Cowboys looking to feed off Tony Romo's heroic performance last night. And the Eagles' dream team, as of right now, doesn't seem like much of a dream, more of a nightmare to me.
And now to Peyton Manning. Is Peyton Manning going to play this year? Even his owner of the Colts doesn't know if he's going to play this year. He went on Twitter the other day saying, "Colts fans, don't look for Peyton Manning this year," but then at a trade auction, they told people that he will be back in December. What do you feel like?
Peyton Manning will not play in the 2011 season, and I'll tell you why. The Colts are 0-3 right now, and they don't want to risk a Peyton Manning coming back and getting injured in a game and being out the rest of the season again and arguably the rest of his career. They just don't want to risk that. And right now, Peyton Manning is doing all he can. He's traveling across the world to do surgeries that aren't even allowed in the United States. And he's trying to get better for next year. Right now, they've packed in on Peyton Manning. They're going to see what they can do with Kerry Collins, which probably isn't much. But another rumor out there is that they're going to secede their win column and try to go after Andrew Luck, which I think is a little bit of a stretch, seeing as Peyton Manning is one of the top 2 QBs in the league when he's healthy. And I think he's going to come back next year and make a difference. But for right now, for this 2011 season, you will not be seeing Peyton Manning.
All right, so let's keep on the gridiron. Now let's go to the collegiate level in NCAA football. This week we have a new number 1 in LSU. Bridget, is LSU the best team in the nation, or is Oklahoma the still best? Take your pick.
Well, I think LSU is. There's 2 points that point to this. There's 2 things that point to this fact. One is the fact that they have the best defense and arguably the best conference in the nation, and even in the whole nation, they have the best defense. Also, they have already beaten 2 of the top 25 teams, and that is saying something. So I do think LSU is the best.
And speaking about the SEC as the best conference, is the addition of Texas A&M as the 13th member of the league, is that the best conference in the league, and how is this going to shape the foundation of football?
I think it's going to completely reshape it, because as everyone knows, teams are already shifting. It's all because of football. So I think the addition of Texas A&M into the SEC, that makes that conference so much stronger. There's already Alabama there. There's already a lot of strong teams. And other ideas like about how Syracuse and Pitt have joined the ACC for their football programs. That's obviously going to weaken the already weak Big East football program, and it's going to strengthen the ACC. So I think this whole turnaround and all the changes within the conferences is definitely going to lead to an interesting football season next year.
Exactly. You mentioned the additions to the ACC in Pitt and in Cuse. Now, how is this going to affect the Big East? Because all our Providence College fans know that the Big East is a big part of Providence College, and how is this going to affect our basketball team?
It's going to weaken the conference as a whole. When you have one founding member leaving the Big East or leaving any conference in general, it's just going to weaken it. The confidence in that conference is just going to go away. Everyone, even if Providence College or any basketball team had a bad season in the Big East, you could be like, oh, well, we are in the Big East. With 2 of the best teams leaving and a rumored 3rd with UConn, it's just not going to be a good season. A lot of people are suspecting that the Big East is just going to implode.
Exactly, you mentioned UConn. If UConn leaves the Big East, it's going to take a huge hit, because they were the defending champions last year, and that just solidified the role of the Big East as the best conference in basketball. And like you said, it's going to take a massive hit in the prestige of the conference.
Exactly.
And now my favorite part of the weekend was Toledo calling out for a vacated win for Syracuse. We didn't see it. Syracuse missed an extra point in the 4th quarter. However, the replay booth thought that the ball went through the uprights and counted it. Thus, Toledo marched down the field, scored a field goal, tied the game up. In overtime, Syracuse kicked the field goal to win the game. Michael O'Brien, the AD for Toledo, was calling out for a vacate win. Is he just being a poor loser, Bridget?
He's being a poor loser, because even if they obviously missed it, but even if they had called it missed, but at the same time, they were able to go back and score and go into overtime. They did have overtime to prove themselves as the winners. So I think in this idea, like this whole scenario, they are being poor losers. If the extra point had been the winning point, then obviously you would have something to say. But they did have overtime to prove that they should have won, and unfortunately they did not prove that.
Exactly. Now let's switch to the Diamond. It's a sad day in Boston. Boston Red Sox are now tied for the wild card. After leading the start of September, 9 games up in the wild card, Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa Bay is now tied with Boston Red Sox. Now, 2 games left in the season. Is Boston going to make the playoffs?
I hope so. I'm a Boston fan, so I'm always holding out hope. I feel like even if they do make the playoffs, though, unfortunately they're not going to make it far. But I do hope that they make it into the playoffs this season.
That's the question too. If they make the playoffs, are they going to make it far? Or is there a World Series push like we thought in the beginning of the season? We have AJ Gonzalez and Jacoby Ellsbury as an MVP candidate, but that bullpen and the starting rotation is not performing. They have a 7+ ERA in the month of September. It's not acceptable in Boston or in any team for that matter. Now let's switch divisions. Let's go to the NL. Are the Braves going to make the wild card, or are the Cardinals one game down right now? Are they going to make a push?
I think the Braves have it. I think Derek Lowe's going to get the job done. A nice veteran pitcher. I think that sinker is going to be having a lot of velocity on it tonight. And I think their young guys, their young guns come through. I think Jason Hayward has a big night for them, stepping into that role that he has to fill the next couple of years. He is their franchise player on offense, so we'll see what he has to bring to the table tonight. But yes, I think the Braves have it tonight, Anthony.
Awesome. And now, in coaching news, Isaac Guillen has left the White Sox and gone to the Florida Marlins reportedly. Now, this is huge for both the AL and the NL. The NL possibly gets a very good manager in Isaac Guillen. How would we be missed in the White Sox, if at all? And does this make Marlins a better team, having Isaac Guillen as their skipper?
Well, I'll tell you what, I like this move for the Marlins. The ownership needs a guy like Ozzie Guillen to spark plug that franchise. There's no one in the stands. That stadium they need a new stadium. They're playing out of the Dolphin Stadium right now at Sun Life in Miami. And in general, Hanley Ramirez is a shortstop. Ozzie Guillen was a shortstop. That could be a good fit there, a nice mentor relationship there. And as for the White Sox, I'm interested to see what they bring to that market, who they bring in to lead that team in the future. And Ozzie Guillen had some good years there, won a World Series, but if you look, the last couple of years, a couple losing seasons, some frustration, and you know Ozzie's not afraid to lash out on the media or his players for that matter. And I think it was a good move for everyone.
Exactly. So now it comes into the show. A lot to watch for tonight in the week. I'm looking for the Red Sox to win these next 2 games, hopefully make the playoffs. So I'm watching for that. Watching the Tampa Bay Rays, seeing if they lose. Watching the NL. So let's hope the Braves win, possibly the Cardinals if you're a Cardinals fan. And also on ESPN tonight, 8 o'clock, Catching Hell, a documentary on how a lonely Cubs fan caught a ball that when Moises was trying to go up to make them win to go to the World Series. It should be a great documentary. I can't wait to watch it. So from me, I'm Anthony Cherry. This is Johnny, our sports insider, and Richard from the Cowl. Thank you for watching PCI and tune in for our next week's edition.